I remember going to a Spanish restaurant, and I don't have a lot of luck with the girls these days. I have to put castanets down my trousers to click with the girls. I went to a restaurant one day. I said, "Oh, hello." She said, "Hello." I said, "Can we go out for a drink?" She said, "No." I said, "Why?" She said, "I'm on menopause." I said, "Menopause? What's that?" She said, "A pause from men. Now go away and do leave me alone." Oh, you laugh at my misfortune. I went into another restaurant. I was just walking out and she went, I said, "Oh, what's all that about? What sort of restaurant is this?" She said, "A tapas." I remember being in another lovely restaurant. I used to live on the mainland of Spain, a place called Mijas. Anybody know it? It's a very nice part of the world. Of course, it's a bullfighting village. And I remember at that time I had a lovely girlfriend, and we went up into the restaurant, and we sat down, and we were having just a nice meal. And all of a sudden, the waiter, Juan, he came up with a massive great plate, huge plate, two lovely lumps of meat on the top there. Came walking straight past me. I said, "Juan," when you came back, "what was all that about?" He said, "They are the speciality of the day, Tony." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "What are they?" He said, "They are the bull's prized assets." I mean, yes. I said, "Well, can we try those as well?" He said, "Not really." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because there's only one bullfight a day." I said, "Well, can we order them for tomorrow?" He said, "Si, senor, of course." So we came back the next day. He came back out with the same tray, but two little balls the size of cream eggs. I said, "What's happened?" He said, "Sometimes, Signor Tony, the bull wins." Talking of fruits, did you hear about the man? He was in court, and his poor wife, she was up before the judge. He said, "I am going to charge you for shoplifting that tin of peaches, and I'm going to put you away for 1 year for each slice of peach that you have." 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 peaches. That means you will do 7 years in jail. And her husband piped up and said, "She stole a tin of peas as well." I've been single now since I've been on the ship. And do you know what? I met a girl once, I have to say. She was a lovely girl. But I looked at her, she looked so normal. But, you know, I think she'd actually eaten one of those sat-navs. Do you know these places? I mean, they're like women, they tell you where to go, don't they? But of course, they all know where they're going, don't they, the girls? And I'm sure she'd eaten a sat-nav of the United Kingdom. I remember meeting her and I said, "Hi, my name's Tony." She said, "You're..."
"Ugly, Essex."
"You've got a face like a..."
"Backside, Scotland."
"And I'm not interested in your..."
"Bachelor's bump, Essex."
Disconsolate, I started to...
"Boozemore, Devon."
"And with a drunken..."
"Sway, New Forest."
"Went for a..."
"Fiddle, Hereford and Worcester."
"Fell out of the..."
"Loo, Cornwall."
"Fell on my..."
"Pratt's Bottom, Kent."
"Reached out for..."
"Jeffrey's Passage, Surrey."
"Who remarked on my..."
"Scratchy Bottom, Dorset."
"Saw the beautiful..."
"Gretna Green,
He said,
Scotland."
"If we go out on a date, don't..."
"Cock Up, Lake District."
Now needing another.
"Beer, Devon."
She came through the door with arms.
"Wide Open, Newcastle."
She grabbed my...
"Sandy Balls, Hampshire."
But we lived happily ever after.
"Titty Ho, Northamptonshire."
Thank you very much. Yes. So we visit a lot of countries, being on a ship. It's wonderful. And so many of the stories I'd like to share come from fellow guests. I remember we were in Norway. Anybody been to Norway? Isn't Norway cold? I personally think that Norway was founded by two Geordies thousands of years ago who stood there huddled next to each other, and one said to the other, "Do you want to stay here?" And he says, "Norway, man." I think it actually originally was like Norway Man. That was probably what it was called. But years later, of course, they warmed up. They found a little island. They said, "Shall we stay here?" And he went, "Oh, aye." But we were in Norway, and there was a story that the taxi driver told me, and I'll share it with you now. It goes like this. The taxi driver said there was a couple when they gave birth to a little baby, and they called the baby Odd, O-D-D. But as the child grew older, people were taking the mickey out of little Odd. They used to say, "Oh, you're a little odd." He didn't like this. As he grew older, people even continued to take the mickey out of him even more. And when he had his own children, even his own children took the mickey out of him. He said enough is enough. He's 70 years of age now, and he's still fed up with people taking the mickey out of his name, Odd. So what he said to his wife, what I'm going to do is I'm going to die, of course, in the next few years, but what I want to do is I want to die in total anonymity. I don't want anybody ever knowing I was here. I've been fed up for nearly 70 years of everybody taking the mickey out of my name. And then she said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, what do you want me to do? He said, what I want you to do is I want you to bury me in a corner of the graveyard, and I want you to put a tombstone. And on the tombstone, I don't want any inscriptions whatsoever. I want it to be completely blank on a white marble tombstone. Completely blank. No inscriptions. Do I make myself clear? She said, yes, dear. And then, funny enough, 3 weeks later, Odd died. He did. It was so sad, but for poor Odd, it didn't really work, his anonymity, because people would walk into the graveyard. You're not getting ahead of me here, are you? You're going to nick me punchline here, aren't you? When they'd walk in, and they'd see that tombstone in the corner, see all the others with inscriptions, and see that one without inscriptions, and they would say, I can't believe it, you nicked the punchline. Yes, that's exactly what they would say. That's odd. I remember when we went to Scotland. We love Scotland. Anybody from Scotland? Yeah, lovely. Hey, you're normally a bit louder than that, Scotland, because you like to have a drink. Anybody from Scotland? Yeah. What do you call a Scottish dentist? Phil McCavity. Did you hear about the Scotsman who went out with a manicurist? Oh, it didn't work out very well. They fought tooth and nail. Oh, they don't get much better. He was from Inverness, and he was a fisherman, because in Scotland they like to fish. They like to fish for their supper. But anyway, he got deserted on an island. That was it. He was on his island, sad. 3 months, and there he was, nearly dying. He was at death's door, and all of a sudden, out of the water, a little mermaid. She was a lovely mermaid. She had nice gills all the way down there. She was wearing a nice gills jacket, not revealing too much, and she pulled up right next to him. He couldn't believe his eyes. She said, you've been here a while. He said, okay, lassie, I've been here a while. She said, you must be very hungry. He said, I am very hungry. She said, I've got some fish and chips here for you, and they're still in the Orkney Evening newspaper. And he ate them with gusto. Then she moved up a bit closer to him, and she said, you must be a wee bit thirsty. He said, I am. So she pulled out a little bottle of whiskey, and he drank it with gusto. Now she saw the glaze in his eyes, and she came right up next to him, breath to breath. She said, well, now you've eaten and you've had a drink, you must be looking to play around. He said, don't tell me you got my golf clubs in there as well, lassie.